this the other day, clovers, chicory mix. And around the outside we put an upland bean mix, which has some millet, sorghum, soybeans, sunflowers, a mixture like that, and that's going to go around the outside with the clover and milk, chicory. Now the reason I put it down at this end of the field is, like Timmy said, there's more moisture down here. If you look at what's going on here, we just had a lot of rain, and this is all dry. So I was hoping that this would, the clover needs a lot of water, so I was hoping that this would stay moist. And not a good idea to plant clover in the spring. You're better off planting clover in the fall because it likes it cool and it likes it moist. So when the temperatures start to fall and they get a little bit more moisture in October, that's when the clover will really take off. And then the following spring it'll grow like crazy. So here's a soybean. Didn't get down in the soil. I used a seed drill and went very deep. Because if you come out here,
is it okay for us to walk out there?
Feel free to root around. Trying to soak up some moisture in the reed. And if you just get your fingers in, you see how it's extremely dry on top, and you see how down just a little bit there's moisture.
Yeah.
Use a seed drill because you have to get that seed down where the moisture is.
Generally speaking, the bigger the seed is, the deeper you plant the seed. The smaller the seed is, the less cover you want to have on the seed.
Yeah, you want to go at least twice the diameter of the seed.
If you go real deep with small seed, it'll never get out of the ground. Because there's only so much food stored in that seed, and it has to get a leaf out so that it can collect some sunlight and start growing. And who knows?
No-till?
Yeah, this is no-till. So we didn't plow this, we didn't disc it. We just sprayed it to kill the weeds that were coming up, and then no-till planted. The planter just makes a slot in the ground, drops the seed in the slot, and has a couple of press wheels that close the slot behind the seed.
Now, small seeds, you can put right on top. Clover likes to be on top anyway. So the problem is when you go to plant something in June, you're heading into dry weather. So that's why I say you're better off doing it in the fall, or you could come in here in March. You could actually plant clover right on the snow. And as the snow melts, it'll carry that seed down and kind of deposit it down in nooks and crannies of the soil. And it'll germinate. Yeah, they call that frost planting because the frost in the soil will kind of move the soil around and kind of works that seed down into the soil. But it's a very tiny seed, so it doesn't have to be.
And you have to realize, before we had farmers, how did clover grow if it has to be planted? It just drops the seed on the ground, and the frost and so forth works that seed into the ground. So we're just mimicking that here. Why might we use no-till instead of coming in here and plowing and planting and disking and so on and so forth? Erosion control, runoff control. In the eastern United States, certainly east of the Mississippi River, who knows what is the largest factor in soil erosion? Pardon? Well, no. That does contribute to it, but the largest factor is raindrop impact. Because how big is a soil particle? Very small. All right, we have sand, silt, and clay. Sand is big enough that you can feel. Excuse me, sand is big enough that you can see an individual particle and you can feel it. All right? Silt is too small. I mean, you can see, but you can't feel. In clay, you can neither see nor feel individual particles. They're pretty small. How big's a raindrop? Big compared to that. Think about yourself walking out of your back door and a house falls on your head. That's about the difference. The difference, except that when that raindrop hits, it doesn't just hit and then go. It hits and it splashes up. And if the soil is not protected by some kind of cover, if you just have loose soil laying out there, some of that soil, some of the soil particles come up with that splash. And by the time it comes back down, they're in suspension. Once you get enough water on the surface that it can't all go in the ground and it starts to run off, that soil acts like a liquid. It just moves off the surface of the ground. And you can't even see that, as it moves off in a uniform sheet. And most soils can withstand 3 to 5 tons of soil loss per acre per year. Now when you take how big is a pound of soil, 3 to 5 tons? Truckload, small truck, not a big triaxle, but a small truck. If you took that soil and spread it evenly over an acre, how big is an acre? What? No, 42,000.
I just know it in square feet.
Square feet.
43,000.
43,000. Okay. So it's roughly a square 200 feet this way and 200 feet this way. Okay? So if we take that small truckload of soil and spread it evenly over that field, how thick is it? Not very thick. It's less than a sheet of paper. That soil can, under ideal conditions, rebuild itself that much each year. But if you lose more than that, you have a net loss. And your productive capacity goes down. Because you're losing the very best. You're losing the topsoil. So when we do no-till, we leave a lot of stuff on the surface. Either standing weeds, grass, and so forth, or stuff that we've knocked over. And it's providing a mulch, and it's protecting the soil from that raindrop impact. So you get much, much less erosion. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, what I try to do is not only use no-till systems, but to double crop and keep soil cover on all the time. Soil that's covered unless you're out in the desert. There's always something growing, right? You ever see a monoculture like that corn over there? Anywhere? Like you go out to the prairies, how many species of grass and flowers are out there? A couple hundred. So when I plant, I think I'm a big deal by planting 5 different species. Nature plants hundreds of different species. And they all have their purpose. And when I try to do like a clover chicory plot, why do I do that? Well, the chicory can feed on nitrogen that's fixed by the clover. Chicory it's like a carrot, so it has a taproot that goes down a couple feet, and it can pull moisture up and stay palatable when the weather's like this. And clover starts to shut down because it's too hot. That's when the deer can eat that chicory, so there's always something there for them to eat. So the clover helps out the chicory helps out the deer. Then in the fall, it goes the other way. When you get more moisture in October, that's when the clover becomes palatable.
Now, did in your plant work here, have you seen chicory, native chicory? Okay. Along the highway, do you ever see these weeds that have almost no leaves, but they look like a little tree, but they get little pale blue flowers on them? That's a wild chicory, right? These are cultivars that make a very broad leaf.
It's not the same thing.
It's the same family, but they're cultivars that are developed because in all nutrition, you might have talked about this in your nutrition classes, it's leaf that we're looking for, not stem. All of the good nutrition is in the leaves. The stems tend to be more woody. What holds them erect is lignin, and that's the same thing that makes a tree stand erect. So there's not much palatable stuff in that stem. You're looking for a lot of leaf surface. So
yeah, cow can eat lignin and digest it. Deer is too small. So a deer is going to pick just the most palatable, softest stuff you can find. We have to provide that. Now if we go up here, there's a couple different species that I planted earlier that are growing. Oh, and the other thing is, this field was bare a month ago. So what we have now is what? Foxtail grass, which is a warm season grass. And it can sneak up on you because you think you got everything killed off, but what happens is the seed is in that soil and can last there for a long, long time. As soon as conditions are right, it takes off, which is what happened here. We thought we had weed control, and then the hot weather came, and guess what? We don't have weed control. We had to spray this again. So this was sprayed with 2,4-D and Roundup.
is that before you planted or after you planted?
We did it after we planted. But it doesn't matter because those are what? Foliar active herbicides, right? You know about that? There's foliar herbicides that are systemic and they work through the plant. You apply them to the leaf. Some are soil active. And there's different chemicals that you can put on that will remain poisonous to the plant for a long time in the soil. Taking over. We try to stay away from those, but if it's soil active,